So hello, good morning, good afternoon, good evening. Welcome to this edition of Soccer Hub Talks. My name is Ricardo Balbeira. I'm the CEO and founder of Soccer Hub. In Soccer Hub, you can find many online courses and content about soccer coaching, soccer scouting, soccer analysis. Just to tell you one thing, at the moment we have a new course in pre-sale mode called Key Performance Indicators for Soccer Scouting from Nene Reis. Okay, I will introduce the link to the course in a few minutes on the chat box, so you can visit it and get to know it better, okay? So as you know, this is a live broadcast, so you will be able to ask questions to our speakers. You just have to introduce those questions on the chat box so we can select some and ask it to the speakers. Once again, I would like you to first click on the like button if everything is okay with the audio and the video. Please do it now. If everything is okay with the audio and the video, please click on the like button. And also I'd like to get some more information about our audience. So please write on the chat box the country that you are based in, and also some information about your job. If you are a soccer scout or soccer analyst, well, please introduce that information on the chat box, because it's important for us to adapt a bit our conversation also to your specific needs. So as you know, today we have a live debate about technologies for soccer scouting. It's called Breakthrough Technologies for Soccer Scouting. And we invited Dinarte Jesus from Athleads, Mirko Ronge from Matchmetrics, and Kevin Wijmer from Johan Sports. The panel will be moderated by the soccer scout, Nuno Milheiro. Hello, guys. Well, Nuno, the panel is yours. See you in about 1 hour, okay?
Hello, Ricardo. Thank you. So see you in about 1 hour. Hello, all. First of all, to say thank you to all of you guys for accepting our invitation. Thanks for everybody that is watching. And today we have 3 innovative technology companies inside sports, that soccer in particular, that have one thing in common. They all contribute for the sport in a good way and to make it better. That's very important. In these days, we have many companies in technology, and not only in soccer, but it's very important the way how to do it. We have Kevin here that is representing Johan Sports. We have Mirko representing Matchmetrics. Hi. And we have Dinarte representing Athleads. So thank you again for all. So let's start with Kevin. So hello, Kevin, again.
Hi, good afternoon.
Hi, nice to meet you. Good afternoon.
Yeah, thank you for having me.
Depending on the part of the globe, because we have people everywhere. So good afternoon, good evening.
Of course.
Or even good morning. So can you please tell us a bit more about Johan Sports and your role in the company, and also the services that Johan Sports provide, but in a very brief way, because we'll come back to the subject in a more detailed way a bit later on. Okay.
Yeah, sure. Well, Johan Sports is a company, a technological company that focuses on the GPS technology in team sports, with our main focus in football, in soccer. We're also in hockey as well, but our main focus is in football. Where we provide assistance and guidance towards for clubs for performance optimization and injury prevention. So our main focus is from the medical and the physical point of view. But as we all know, the sports technology is rapidly advancing on a global level these days. So the technology is applicable in a lot of different areas that are connected to football. One of them is scouting. I work as an applied sports scientist at Johan Sports, where I am mostly supporting the clubs that work with our GPS system, where I provide technical assistance. I provide a data analysis. I report on some of the testing that they do and their load management. And I give a lot of consult on the experts and the people working with the system at their clubs with the Johan Sports system.
Perfect, Kevin. Spot on.
Right.
Thank you for that. Now we go to Dinarte. Hi, Dinarte. already met, of course, and many people know it's common sense that we work together, and it has been a pleasure. And you are representing Athleads. Please tell us a bit more for the people that don't know of course, obviously your role, and also a bit about the company itself, like the same as with Kevin.
Okay, so hello everyone. It's a pleasure to be here, and thanks Nuno for the invite. And it was also a pleasure working with you. And yeah, so from Athlete, I'm the co-founder of Athlete, and we started as a marketplace for scouting reports. So where freelancing scouts could expose their reports and sell to clubs. Now during coronavirus as well, like it kind of hit us because we are focusing on live matches, so reports and live matches, and due to that, we are changing a bit and try to help as well the scouts organize their work inside of the teams. So not only like freelancing scouts, but also scouts inside of the team needs more tools to help them organize their scheduling, their database in that way. So we were also exploring that part. That's kind of the new thing. But our core was the marketplace for scouting reports.
Perfect. Thank you for sharing that. The same with Mirko. Hi, Mirko. Hi. I also had the pleasure to not to work in the same project, but to be closer and with Nuno, that is representing Matchmetrics, and also with I forgot his name now. What is his name? That he also came to Portugal to represent.
Alex?
He was.
Stefan?
No. Yeah, Stefan.
Yeah.
Very perfect. He was very, very helpful at the time, and I liked a lot your project, and I think like all of you guys, you have fantastic projects, and congratulations to all. So if you can tell people a bit more about Matchmetrics, please.
Yes.
The same thing about your role inside the company.
Okay, thank you very much for being here and for the invitation. Just a few words to me. My name is Mirko Ronge. I am the co-founder and CEO of Matchmetrics. We founded in 2016. We are based in Bielefeld in central Germany. What we are doing for Matchmetrics, I'm sharing my screen. Maybe Ricardo can put it on the desktop. Perfect. Something like this. Yeah, what we're doing in Matchmetrics, we are developing software solutions to make data accessible, to make at the end a better decision for everyone. And what kind of problem we are solving on the market? There's a lot of information and small bubbles, and there's a lot of complexity to make decisions. And based on data, most of the people are in the middle. They have a lot of questions. But what we want to make is we want to make better decisions as a scout, as a coach. And this can be a simple decision. Is it the player worth to have a look on him or not? And we are trying to build, on the one hand side, high quality data that matters, and on the separate side, build interface solution to make data accessible. This is a combination of complexity and simplicity, which we want to solve. And what we are doing, we creating an ecosystem of small, innovative solutions which are problem solving in his area. At the moment, we have 3 different solutions. We have Match-Eye on the one hand side, which is our own data collection process. We have a product for the collection of subjective data, and we have our analytics solution Scout Panel. And it's all bounded now in our analytics hub and with our effective play indicators. The effective play indicators is our heart of our system, and the main idea behind this is in football, it's always about goals. So the team with the most goals is winning the game. But a match has 2,500 different events, and every event has an impact on the match. Is it the goals themselves or the tackle close to the box? And our question was, how can we evaluate it? How can we compare tackles with goals and passes? And what we've did is we've created an algorithm based on nearly 180,000 games, which allows us to do exactly this. We are evaluating events based on their proximity to the goal and their space gains. And this allows us to create complete database profiles at the end of the day. Just to get a feeling of it, when we're thinking of normal statistics like passing accuracy or number of passes, let's compare to center backs. Both are passing the whole time to each other. It results in a high number of passes, high accuracy, but it has no value of the game. compared to a player maybe who's able to deliver the ball into the box, which has a value for the match. And we are trying to find this kind of talents based on data. And this is our premium solution, Scout Panel. We've won the German Design Award with this product 2018, and the heart of this product is our algorithm, which allows us to evaluate player immediately. It's built on decision making, so you should be able to make quick decisions of a profile of a player. You don't have a look at the video hours, and it should be a quick decision if it's worth to have a look at the player on a deeper level. And you can think about an iceberg. We are just showing 20% of the data, maybe just the top of the iceberg, but we can say with a probability of 80% it is an iceberg, and then you can go a step deeper and have a look at the strengths and weaknesses. And so it's like finding new talents and explore new markets. And at the moment we have a database of over 215 countries worldwide, up to 160,000 players in this level of div. What we are selling. This is something like find new talents. On the left-hand side, we are seeing Thiago with a similar profile where we can directly identify his strengths and weaknesses. And at the right-hand side, there's a young German player of the under-19. He's playing as Angelo Stiller. And yeah, this helps us to get a blick, to get a glance on the data and to identify strengths and weaknesses of players. Yeah, what we're also doing with Matcher, we have an own data process. It's interesting because we are buy the data from an external provider, but we saw that there is a need for low levels where there is no event data on the market to have it on a high level. And we are able to collect deep event data on any level from video and the same quality like a Champions League match. This is really interesting. This is bundled in MatchEye, where we combine visualization and insights with a video, and it's always concise. This is more an analytics solution, and what we are doing is we collect every touch within this product. This is really interesting because you can build something like velocity for touches, and you get a new glance on your match. This is a second tool, just a quick, and ScoutPad is the smallest solution. It's for collecting your subjective notes in soccer and scouting. It is a problem that if you watch a game, you make notes on your paper, and afterwards you're going into a system and type it in, or you have to structure it. And there's a loss of data if you do not structure your data the right way. And ScoutPad allows you to collect data directly from the field with the solution and get immediately insights about your subjective data. It's completely based on subjective data. Yeah, and this all is bounded in our small ecosystem and connectable. Yeah, just what we are doing in a nutshell. Really quickly, it's a lot of things what we are doing in different areas. So we are really trying to be a bit innovative in several areas, but this is in a nutshell what we are doing. Good.
Okay. Thank you. Yeah, that's it. Thank you, Mirko. I think you already did the two steps, more deeply and then more brief. So yeah, so that's perfect. You already. Let's go to another round now with Kevin and Dinarte, so they can also go, deeper in the product. So we already did two in one. So basically, Kevin. And Kevin, can you please tell us a bit more deeply about the product itself? Like how it works and everything. I believe, I don't know if you also have a presentation.
Yeah, I have it on my screen right now. Yeah. Like I said, we have our main focus in the GPS technology, and we have our main focus from a physical and medical point of view, where we try to help the coaches and the clubs in their performance optimization and also regard with the injury prevention. And by tracking the players day to day with, for instance, the GPS trackers, we have the motion-based data available, and we have from every training and every match that players perform every day, every week, every month. No matter how many sessions there are, and doesn't matter the load of the sessions, we can all gather data on it, and we can provide useful insights for the coaches, for the medical staff, for everyone involved at the team, the current status of the players. and we can also help them build their programs in the future for the optimal performance. So what they do on specific days in the week, also with regards to upcoming matches in the weekends, maybe 3, 4, or 5 days up front, or maybe even 4 or 5 weeks up front when they have a congested fixture or something. We have several solutions for that. Well, our main product is the GPS system. Currently on the screen you see our main V4 version 4 Johan GPS system. You also see in the back the mobile app, where we have also the subjective questionnaires, where players can enter data such as recovery scores like muscle soreness, stress levels, sleep quality, all kinds of variables that affect recovery levels, and which also are always involved in the performance and the ability and the capabilities to perform for specific players on every day in the week. And we provide a special platform for that as well. We have an online platform where you can analyze your data. You can automatically calculate all kinds of sports scientific theories that we do automatically in the system. That automatically gives you advice on which training to do in the next day, or if your players are ready to perform, or in what way you can adjust your training program. But of course, this is also related to, like I said, mainly related to the physical part, which comes to a specific part that we are also looking into to develop based on the objective data that we are collecting from hundreds of teams nowadays. That we have a huge big data collection and a database where we can get where we can derive all kinds of insights from all different levels within a country, but also on an international comparison. And if I switch to the next screen, and this is a preview of what we are looking into right now, is that we are looking into purely based on the objective data that comes out of the GPS sensors, is that we would like to look into, the match performance of several players, which are position specific. And we all know that on specific positions, there are different demands. For example, an attacking midfielder has a lot of total distance and a lot of distance to cover, while, for example, a central defender has a lot less distance to cover, and a fullback has a lot of high intensity distance to cover. And based on those objective data that we measure on a daily basis, we can also look into what specific capacities and demands are across all positions and across all levels and countries. And then we can derive specific insights from different performances in the match. And based on that, we can tell whether a player is suitable for playing on a different position that he normally does. So this is also applicable or related to a scouting department. So if we look at a player that is used to playing in the center of the field, like a center defender or a defensive midfielder, or maybe even a center forward, a striker, is he suitable, or is it wise maybe if he plays on a side position like a winger or a fullback? And also with the basic focus that we have at Johan Sports, what are the physical consequences and the physical pain points of that? And is he able to perform? Is this specific player, with his characteristics, with his key qualities, is he capable of performing at a high level, at the level that you wish your players to have? Is he able to perform at that position? And that is what we are looking into right now, and we try to make it fully automatic, so it becomes also available for all coaches and people that work with the Johan system. And this is mainly what we're in our field of work within the Johan Sports system, is that we really want to try to translate all the numbers and all the data that naturally come up from all the technology, and we want to translate it to the coaching language or the scouting language or the medical language, because not everyone has a specific understanding of talking in specific numbers or in graphs or whatever. You can imagine everything you'd like. So if we try to translate it, okay, this player is likely to perform at a good level on a different position, what he's normally used to doing. If we can help the coaches with that, and by providing that translation, I think, or we think at Johan Sports, that we can help the club and help the coaches at least one step closer to their end goal. And that's in the end what it's all about, according to our view.
Perfect, Kevin. Perfect. We have a very interesting question in here from Deborah Scholz. So, how much do you track the mental aspect of the players? Is there a way? Because the mental part is hard to, it's something that is difficult to measure, or is there an answer for that, or what do you believe about that? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. Yeah, I think from my point of view, it's really hard to measure. What we are trying is to build a system which works on a global level, on a broad level, and it's sometimes really hard to capture such things of mental. I guess we are coming from an event base. And we are trying to find patterns within the data, which contains implicitly this kind of information. What does a mentality mean? Maybe it's the person who is really engaged in tackling, for example, something like this. Maybe it's an indicator for mental things, but it's really hard to capture it because it's so skill, and this is sometimes not really obvious. What you mean with this?
Okay. Kevin, do you think there is a way to track that mental part or not? Because, for example, when you said that you believe, and of course it's very helpful for a coach to understand if a player can play in another position, there is also the mental part of the player playing in that position. So do you think it's something that is measurable, or it's a different field, it's hard to do it?
Well, when tackling the mental aspect of the game, it's of course that you're more shifting towards a psychological point of view, and yes, it is harder to measure and to translate that into data, especially when you're working with a lot of quantitative data like the GPS data or the optical tracking. But it is possible. We also have the product of the questionnaires, where we have recovery forms that are also relating to the mental state of the players, like stress levels, like the mood, the sleeping quality. So that is more a subjective score. So it is more shifting towards a qualitative data scale, but it is still possible. Only the perfect solution into combining both quantitative and qualitative data, so the pure physical objective data of the GPS and like the distance, the speeds, and all those kind of things, if you can really intertwine them and really perfectly combine them with the mental health scales, so the scores on, for example, the stress levels, if you can manage that, and that's what we're trying to do as well, it's always a better way to combine all the data. But if you want to know whether a player is capable of playing in another position, also including the mental aspect, it's always important to keep talking with your player, and that's what we always keep saying. You can look at all the data you want, but always make your conclusions into context. And it is possible to measure the mental data or the mental health and scores, but always keep talking to your players. That's the most important thing. Yeah.
Exactly. You are, in the end of the day, you are here to help, but you are not here to substitute some things that are irreplaceable. You know, like is more like if you can have more accurate information, perfect, but it's not a replacement. You know, just to make sure that people can analyze everything, but there are things that can, like we said, it's important to keep the human aspect also. But that's important. Just to finish with you, to give the word to Dinarte, just to say also that Kevin have a course with us for the ones that want to learn a bit more how to use the GPS in training and everything. Just go to our webpage and you can also have the course. So Dinarte, can you please, because you've been speaking less so far, just please take your time and tell us a bit more deeper the concept about athletes.
Yeah, just before going to more deep into athlete and like the concept, I also want to add here, like in terms of the mentality of the player, I think it's a bit easier when it's about your players, because then you have these formulas. There's like a lot of psychology work behind that and research where you can do formulas and understand about the player mentally. But then when it's about looking into opponents, looking to other players from other teams, then it becomes really hard. What I also saw as a solution was a lot of people going through the players' social media and trying to like evaluate a bit of that. But of course, it's quite tricky, and nothing beats still having someone in the field that can actually analyze that. And like we talk actually many times, Nuno, that a lot of the details from mental of the player you see during his training, during his warm-up before the match. And that's something that you usually also don't have that on camera. And therefore, that's also why you lose a lot of information that could be useful from that, for analyzing that.
Yeah, for sure.
Yeah, so like regarding athlete, so we started as like I said, a marketplace to scouts, and the reason is that we noticed that a lot of the clubs were sending their scouts to another countries, and there in these countries was already good scouts. There was already people that understand the football, and to prevent them to send these scouts and sometimes being like not so useful, or to take conclusions that they could have taken by having someone on that country, on that region, already analyzing and sending this information or selling this information for the club. We realized, okay, that there's something there that we can save money first to the club as well, but also like helps like the freelancing scouts, which there is many more than actually we know. Like I believe that only 20% of the scouts, professional scouts, actually work in clubs. The other 80 is like freelancers. So we tried to explore that market, and that's how like came the idea of Athlete itself. And now, like due to the coronavirus, there is no live matches, like I was saying. So, and we don't know when there is live, but there's no fans on the stadium. So we don't know when this is going to happen. We're starting to look more into organizing a team. So the average football team has around like 3 scouts plus head scout. And we see that they have like challenge in terms of like scheduling, having also understanding the overview like of their database, of their reports, understand, okay, how can I take fast decisions if something comes to like a player injured or a proposal. So we decided that here, like, there's a lack on the market as well, where there is a lot of solutions for stats. There's a which is great, and like I really appreciate what both of you are also working on. But we see that there's also a need for supporting these scouts with their own reports and help them organize the data in a similar way that there is stats that is already doing it. but that also they can have the same effect with their reports. That there is not like we see in many clubs an Excel, and of course to deal with an Excel can, if you are really pro on it, you can do it amazing things. But if you don't have so much experience, it can be tough to organize in a way that if someone calls you and from one moment to another you need to make a decision, that you look at that Excel and you can say, yeah, that we can sell this player, like is free to transfer if he's willing for that, just to looking at the Excel with all the reports that they have. So you're looking to this space, and without forgetting, of course, the scouts on the countries, which we believe is going to be useful due to like registrations, like from the coronavirus. We know that traveling is not going to be the same soon, and many clubs that still want to continue to do scouting in other countries and don't want to have their scouts staying 14 days in quarantine before actually having access to a match. Why not having someone local, like that you can trust, that you have, that there is already a trust system and like a rating system like Uber does with the drivers, and that making happen, right? And the funny thing is that all the things that I grew up like listening to my mom, like don't go into strangers' house, don't enter into strangers' cars, now is a reality, right? Now we go in Uber, now we go in Airbnb, don't think about it. And so we believe that we can also build the same trust for these freelancing scouts, and then also help the teams to do more, because they will need to do more or do the same or more with less resources. Teams after the coronavirus, after like the being hit so hard in terms of like the financials, they will need to do the same because their fans are expecting the same level or better, and they will have less resources. So that's also where we focus, and we're really talking with a lot of teams. We're talking with a lot of teams in Portugal, teams in Germany, where we are located, and really trying to understand, okay, how can we make them like take faster decisions, better decisions, and don't get stuck.
Thank you, Dinarte. I think it was pretty clear, the idea. So now we can go back to Mirko. So Mirko, what were the main the main challenges you faced in the beginning when you were launching the product? Obviously, when nobody knew Matchmetrics, and also the challenges you face now when you are already in the market. So basically, in the beginning and now at the stage that you are, the biggest challenges.
Yeah, I think the biggest challenge, and it is a bit the same like 3 years before, it's the trust in data in soccer and in football. It is always, for me as a data analyst, it is obvious that data has some potential, some insight, which helps me to be better and more efficient. But within clubs, there's always some kind of, they're not sure how to use data. They have some concerns about the quality, and it's always about the human eye. So my eye is seeing everything, and I don't need data. I'm doing this for 30 years now, and this is one side. The second thing is clubs are not really a bit backward was regarding technology and digitalization. They are a bit like old school, and they have to be open-minded regarding investments, because technology needs an investment, it needs time, and there's a lack of time. And I guess this is the most problem. You need a lot of effort to show clubs the benefits of it, why they have to use it, and how can they use it. And this was the situation 3 years before, and we are still at the same level. But I have the feeling that with Corona at the moment, there's a change within clubs. They have to use tools because they cannot go out and go live scouting. They have to use video. They have to use data. I think this will lead to a change in minds for everyone.
Thank you for your answer, Kevin. What do you think about the same, and what were, in your case with Johan Sports, the biggest challenges and the challenges at the moment?
Well, for the most part, I agree with Mirko. It's especially the point that he made about coaches already working for decades in football, for example, and they've seen a lot of matches. They've seen a lot of players come and go. They have a really good, genuine feeling of interpreting and building their conclusions on what they see. And then us as technological companies, we come along and we tell them to do it differently, or to do it to look at data. And because it is relatively new, especially the older generations of coaches who've been in the field already for 20, 30 years, they still rely, they are more likely to rely on their own experiences than on the objective information that all the systems and all the technology provides. And that we also noticed, especially in the beginning, that it took a lot of effort and a lot of time to get coaches and clubs convinced of the added value of a system like GPS technology. But nowadays, slowly they're turning around. They become more educated on the topic as well, and not everyone already knows how to interpret all the heaps of data into effective training programs, for example, or in effective conclusions for that matter. But there are more courses available, like those on Soccer Hub. So that really gives coaches a lot of tools to get their own education up to speed on this specific matter. And the challenges we face today for Johan Sports is mostly the time efficiency. That is also one of our key selling points of Johan Sports, is that we already want to translate all the data into the natural language of coaches. So we want to save them time, so they can spend as much time with their players, with their staff, at the field, at the pitch, as they can. And we try to prevent them not having to spend too much time on a laptop in huge workbooks of Excel, of all these databases. So that is the main challenge we have right now. Really interesting challenge, and I'm convinced in a couple of years from now, the world will look a lot different. But yeah, it's really interesting. It's, like I said, it's challenging, but it's really interesting.
Yeah, for sure. I think it's a bit like when it was changing from normal cell phones to a smartphone. It was hard in the beginning how to learn, but then when you get used to that, you cannot leave it anymore. So I think it's a bit in that way. But of course, there is always like resistance from people, from everyone. Dinarte, what the same question, obviously, for you, the biggest challenges you faced and you still face?
Yeah, like in our scenario, it was not so much about trusting in the data itself, because we put a face in front of the data of the reports, right? In front of each report, there's a person, there's a scout who did it, and we see that from there, there is a bit more trust in the way, because, like I said, they like to say it's from their eyes what they see. But we also have, of course, like some challenge of why should trust these scouts and not people I know? Of course, there's always that challenge. But I think, like with again, like Mirko was saying, and as well, I think with COVID-19, people or the clubs are more open. I see presidents from clubs doing like Zoom calls and or Zoom debates like we're having right now, and that's something that 3-4 months ago, I if someone will tell me, I would like, no, that's a lie. That can't be happening. So I see a huge change. I see that people also are understanding. Okay, we digital help us to organize our work, and so I believe the future will be like these teams will be giving more a chance to the technology side. And even though they always they like to have a face, they like to have a human that they can take responsibilities too, because they are doing a lot of big investments on hiring players only from data. Of course, that it's challenging, right? But I think they will be more open to use that, at least for helping them or to be a support for their scouts.
Yeah, for sure. I will add one more thing. I agree with all of you. I think it's a big challenge. This is a conversation, not an interview, of course. We are sharing ideas. And I don't know if you guys agree, but depending also on the markets, that's something we are going to talk in a bit about the markets that you work more, because in some markets it's even still hard to convince the clubs that scouting is important, the normal scouting, and then next you still have the technology. So many countries, they don't even have scouts or scouting departments. So the technology is even a further step. So me as a scout, I face that challenge. Some countries, if you tell them, or some clubs, if you tell them, sorry, Dinarte, yeah.
No, sorry, I was just adding as well that I think in general sports, compared to other industries, got technology a bit late. I think there was some kind of blocker there in the past where the new technologies, new ideas were being blocked. Well, you see the other industries that is already more developed in terms of technology, work tools that help organize the tasks and things like this that already exist in other industries. But football, it came a bit late, but it is coming now. But you're right as well. US market, for example, is kind of a market that is quite open to technology, and of course the teams there are already open for this compared to maybe Portugal or other countries where they didn't have this middle step.
Yeah, that's what I want to say, because some countries, for example, I was building a department here in Portugal. I was building a department from scratch, a scouting department for a club. I never even had a scouting department. To convince them to go to technology, I was even convincing them. It's very hard, but other markets are already open for that. But I don't know if you agree with this. And also, in my opinion, the technology in sports comes more from the US, from other sports. And there was a big change with Moneyball, first with the book and then the film. But what I believe that is the football clubs, they don't distinguish one thing. They are prepared for the technology, but they don't understand that a baseball game is completely different from a soccer game. You have many more decisions on football, many other statistics, many other things that you need to measure. It's completely different sport. The same with basketball, the same with other sports. So the challenge is that one, they are thinking they can find the best players like they do on baseball because the number of hits they do, but in football is not so linear like that. So Kevin, do you agree with this, or do you think it's completely different?
Yes, I do agree. Especially when you make the comparison between baseball and soccer, for example. I'm not really well known in the baseball scene, but as far as I can tell, a sport like soccer, like hockey, all those basketball, those are really dynamic. So the decision making is maybe a player has to make 10 decisions within 2 seconds or 3 seconds. While in baseball, these periods without even a decision that needs to be made is very long, because the game is much longer, but also the progress is, at least in my opinion, is a lot slower. But again, I'm not really a baseball expert, so forgive me if I'm telling something, if I'm making someone mad, someone over here. But I totally agree that in every different sport you need to measure different aspects of the game, and we can have some similarities between a football, a hockey, a rugby, or these field outdoor sports, because they are all dynamic. They all contain a lot of running, left-handed, right-handed, left-footed, right-footed, all those kind of aspects. They are relatively similar, and that's the big difference, in my opinion, with baseball.
Yeah, sure. So Mirko, I think you're the guy for the numbers for this part also. So what's your opinion about if you were let's say I like to how can I say, to make some challenges. So if you had to build like a platform like Matchmetrics for baseball now, for example, you had to change all the algorithms, everything behind pretty much, no? Or could you analyze, or it's roughly the same, or it's the same accuracy, or do you believe that the sport is very, very different?
Well, I think it's, in this case, it's different because it's more a single person sport, baseball. It depends on the ability of a player. It is not so dependent on the other performance of other players, where football is in some really complex. It depends not just on the ability of one player, it depends on the abilities of your teammates. And this is the main difference between baseball and football, and which makes it much more harder to evaluate players. But on the other side, I think they are both the same, because at the end, the player has to deliver something. We expect that the player has to deliver something, and it does not matter how he delivers it, he has to deliver. And what we are trying to, this is the way we have developed our effective play indicators to estimate the value of a player to a match. Maybe it's the same like we're doing a Moneyball. It's a different perspective on the game. And yeah, so it depends a bit on the sports, what you're looking for, like basketball or baseball or soccer. I think every sport has its own challenges. For soccer, I guess it's really relevant that the subjective scouting or subjective evaluation is really important, because a lot of psychology, like mentality for a player, which is a really important factor. If I'm looking for a player and maybe he's a good player, he has a good performance, but maybe he isn't a good fit for my team because he speaks a different language, or he doesn't have the mentality for my team. And I guess for baseball, it isn't such relevant, because maybe he just has the ball without any maybe he makes a party or something like this, but he has to hit the ball, and soccer is more a team sport.
Yeah, exactly. And the decisions, like Kevin said, are much more, and depends much more on the mental side. Also, a small decision of a pass, for example, if he makes the pass to the space or to the foot, is different. Baseball it's more linear sport. But just to clarify that many people they expect the data to be exactly the same, use it in the same way. Even if we are talking about the US or baseball, it's also a closed league. You already expect what you're going to get. And if you go through different leagues all around the world in soccer, the data is different. The environment is different. Everything is different. The adaptation is different, because like Mirko said, you have more contact with the players, the language is important. So this is much more, this could be another webinar only for this kind of thing. So yeah, let's move on. I just like to say, like, also just also that remind you guys that we have the new course on pre-sale by NRH, former scouts of Porto and Leicester, and the subject is key performance indicators for soccer scouting. And you can get in total a 35% discount. The normal 25%, it's on the website, and if you use the coupon NUNO10, you get extra 10%. And the course will be available very soon, and for sure you like it. So this is just a small thing. So also let's go to Dinarte. Dinarte, about the markets. Which markets you work more with, or with which markets are more interesting for you guys, that you think are more open for your solution? If you can reveal, of course, and why, and the reason why.
Yeah, so like we started initially in Portugal. So I'm from Portugal, and I play football there as well. So I had already some contacts, and it was a bit easier to start talking with teams. That was our initial approach. We had a lot of people talking with us, like from clubs, listening to our feedback. But like our impression as well is that there's not all the teams are ready for, like you said, to have these kind of tools yet, or at least don't have the right size. So because now we are looking as well into the collaboration, right? So we're looking to teams that have at least 2 or 3 scouts and need help like to organize the department there in terms of data. So therefore, like, we're starting to look more into the German market, which is now where I'm living. We're living in Berlin. So until now has been more the German market that we're looking, because usually they have big teams in terms of scouting. But like, I also want to say that we've been talking, like, especially with the new idea, the new concept of organizing the scouting department, a workbench for scouting. We also been talking again with teams in Portugal, a bit more higher level, and we've been also having good feedback and openness to talk about it. So that's also been really good.
Perfect. Kevin, same question for you, please.
Yeah, the main market for Johan Sports is that we also already collaborate with unions, with clubs from elite international level, like the international team of Iceland, of Panama, of Hong Kong hockey. We're all over the world nowadays. So we're from the elite international level, but we're also from until the regional level. And that's what our main focus is at. Also, because we have our product brings a solution that already translates the heaps of data that come out of systems like we have of the GPS data, and they become comprehensible for coaches that don't have access to a lot of scientists. They don't have an entire performance staff at their club, which can inform the coach about decisions, about the next step to do. So, like Dinarte, we are also focusing on the German market right now. It has a lot of different regional competitions as well that have already shown a lot of interest in technologies like GPS. And mainly because we have this time-efficient solution for analyzing a lot of data on a daily basis, is that we see a lot of connection there. So we have in Europe the sub-elite level from the national level to the regional level, especially in Germany nowadays as well.
Thank you. Same to you, Mirko, please.
Yes, I want to distinguish between our products. So Scout Panel is more for the professional market, because there's more the idea of global scouting, and regional scouting just for a low level is my most regional parts. There's our main focus at the moment. It's Germany, because it's our home market, but we are already working international, like with other London in Great Britain or Netherlands and Portugal, but we are trying to scale now. ScoutPad, our solution for handling scouting reports and optimize the subjective scouting, is normally for everyone, from an amateur coach who's watching his own games to evaluate players. And our main market here is, well, smaller markets like Portugal, for example, or Brazil, where we've really good connection to it, Eastern Europe or America for the college market. This is also a relevant market for our third product, MatchEye, for coaches who have interest to optimize their own analysis of this team. Often they have videos, but they do not have good data for it on an event data basis, really deep data. And for MatchEye, we are trying to find partners like universities who is interested to collect the complete season of them, to get benefits from their data and their video. And this works for every video, and this is really interesting. And this is a focus more on smaller market where there is no data at the moment. And yeah.
Okay, perfect, great, thank you. So, Dinarte, coming back to you. So, inside the club, who are the persons that will directly interact more with the software you provide? You are more to the head of scouting, also trying to fulfill the expectations from the coach. It's only one person, only one scout, the sports director. So who will use more deeply the software?
So yeah, we're starting with the head of scouting, so to help them understand what they have in their database, which reports and which players, which positions are kind of fulfilled. And we are now also talking, and we realize that they also need, the scouts also need scheduling. So this will influence the scouts. So scheduling the games or which best game to watch for that player. So that's where we will affect the in-channel scouts. And the same service, we also looking into like a single player, which will be, we know that there's a lot of clubs who have only one scout that does everything. So we also would like to provide something that also works for them and help them follow the same principles as if they have a big team. So like giving them the process from like big team and help them like even like in a small department or one person to still keep organize their work and keep them professional as like a big team.
Thank you. And Kevin, the same question. So who is using more directly the software?
I think the main users of our system are the head coaches themselves, especially the coaches who are working at clubs who don't have access to an elaborate team, like analysts, scouts, performance coaches, etc. But we also talk a lot to club directors, the medical staff, because of our main focus, of course, from the physical point of view. So we kind of hover in between all those different positions, because all different aspects and different point of views from these different positions or functions, better said, is that they can all take a little bit of the entire data and use it for their own daily activity. So I think we're a more all-rounder, but we are more user-friendly and applicable for the people working closely with the players. So like the coaches, like staff members.
Okay, thank you. And what about you, Mirko, please?
Yeah, so MatchEye is built for coaches and analysts, not really for the guys who's on the top level. Scout panel, it depends a bit. It's a broad range from a normal scout who is checking his markets or his own team, who is going into the data and explore markets, up to head of recruitments who is on the last step just to watch to have a last glance on the player before he's transferring a player, just to have a quick view on it, up to transfer market decisions. Our normal target group are head scouts, because it's much more easier to implement such kind of products within the club if you have an entry level and higher. If you have a higher entry level, because often it helps if you want to work more with technology if it comes from a higher level, because everyone has to use it, and as it's come from bottom up, it's sometimes hard to work with it. It's much more easier if it's come from the top.
Okay, thank you. That was very clear from all of you guys. So the next question, I think you already answered, because how can directly a scouting department could use the product? So we already been talking about it, and through this conversation. So basically, you are all connected with the scouting departments and helping the scouting. So that's the main point. The next question is like, are you developing any new products? If you want to reveal, of course. If it's something that you already look ahead, or if there were, like in case Dinarte said, with this situation with the virus, it changed a bit the focus. So are you developing anything that you already been developing before, or even a new strategy because of what is happening, or you are keeping the focus like the same, or you don't have any new products for soon, just want to develop the one you already have? Dinarte, I think you already answered your part. No, I think you.
Yeah, I can just add a bit that if there is someone watching and that is from scouting department, and that has challenge from the scheduling to understanding like the state of the database, or how good is like his database, we are happy to talk, and because we are having a lot of interviews with different people, and to really find a product that solves their problem, and that not a product that comes from our head. So if someone want to talk with us, we're really happy to have a video call and discuss their problems.
Perfect, thank you. Kevin, are you guys developing any new product? If you can reveal, of course,
Yes.
or you are trying to improve the product that you already have, because there is always something to improve, based on the feedback, or nobody's perfect, everything is always improving. Even the football players are always improving. So based on the feedback. So yeah, if you can tell us a bit more about that.
Yeah, exactly. Like players always want to improve themselves, and teams want to improve themselves. So do we.
Yeah.
And like I said all the way in the beginning, is that the technology is rapidly advancing. So there's also kind of a must that you must improve yourself, because there are also a lot of companies arising every day in this field, in the technology of sports. But yeah, we are currently developing a new product and a new version of the sensor as well. I don't know if Ricardo can put it on screen right now. Yeah, okay. There it is. I showed you in the beginning the version 4 Johan sensor, which is the GPS sensor, which has a compatibility, for example, with the with our heart rate sensor as well. But we are developing a new Johan tracker, the version 5, as it is called until now, which has a real-time function as well, which already makes all the data available right there, right now on the pitch. You see your players performing a sprint. You can immediately see their top speed, their acceleration, how many distance they covered. Which has and the sensor also has an integrated heart rate sensor, so you can get all the information as well as the positional data as the heart rate data, which indicates the physiological response, so how fit is a player and what are their capabilities, immediately shown on your iPad screen, or for example on your, let me see if I can take the next page. Nope. No, it's not. It's available on your iPad and on your telephone, so it has a lot of functionalities, which immediately brings the data immediately to the coach or the scout or the physical therapist or whoever wants to use the data, and that will be available this summer, which is the new Johan system.
Okay, great. Okay, that's perfect. Just 2 questions, if I can ask you, if you allow me.
Sure.
That's something you said about the sleeping quality, for example, for the players. So that's a device that they use outside the club also. For example, if they do extra training outside the club, they can also wear it, or it's something only inside the club.
Well, for the new system that we will launch this summer, because it is also compatible with a smartphone, players can also use it on an individual level. Okay. Still, the main focus of the platform, of the software, is still on a team-based level. So all the data will still be managed by the coach or the person at the club. But it is available, or it is optional to use it at home. For example, in a situation like this, when people must be in quarantine and must train at home or in the park near their home. So that is available with the new Johan system.
Okay, perfect. But the other question is, does the player have access to his own data, or obviously yes, on his phone? He can see on his phone.
Every player has its own user account in our platform, and because of course we have the privacy legislation, is that players can log into the system themselves, but they are only allowed to see their own data. The coach and the analyst, they can see the data of the entire team, but only after the first login. When a player account is created, they have to read the policy agreement, and then they can access their own data. But they can only, like I said, access their own data, so not of their teammates or whatever.
Perfect. Just a quick joke also, because Dinarte is from Madeira, where from Cristiano Ronaldo is coming from, and I'm sure if someone will beat all the records there on training outside the pitch will be Ronaldo. So, so you have a lot of stats with Ronaldo training outside.
I'm training
outside
pretty
the
hard
pitch.
as well at home. Don't overestimate me.
Yeah. Okay. And what about you, Mirko? Are you guys developing? I know you are, like you said in the beginning, you have different products. So so for you it's harder to be focused only in one. You already have 3 products to think about. Are you thinking about the 4th product or to develop more? The 3 that
we have a 4th product, but it's an internal product for the data collection. It's a really complex process. Our biggest challenge is not to be too innovative, because we have a lot of ideas and we are really happy to do new things, but we have to focus on. MatchEye is our newest product, and it's officially a closed beta at the moment. But what we are developing at the moment within MatchEye is, Kevin told about, it's more the optimization regarding what kind of information we can get of the data. And the level of data and the high quality data allows us to keep new insights. And we are trying to find a way to optimize the way of event data, so hard facts, with video. And this is a really interesting problem where we're working on, and there's a lot of potential, because Kevin said, often they are just small teams. You have, for a single team, you have a coach, maybe you have an assistant coach, and the assistant coach is at the same time scout and analyst, and they don't have time. And it lasts really long to create reports, to identify strengths and weaknesses of opponents. It's work of hours to do it, besides normally your normal work. I guess, I believe that the information age with the data, which is possible for tracking data or personal data or event data, allows the person to be more efficient, because data contains a lot of information, and so that you can focus on the soft skills of a person, like mentality, something like this, because this will at the end always be a part of the human. But everything else from an automation side of data and information and patterns, this can be done by technique. So, and we are focused how can we optimize this kind of process for scouting and analyze players.
Sure. I think it opens up a lot of free time for the coach for interpersonal connection with the players. Yeah. And that, in our opinion, is the great advantage and the great benefits of including and incorporating technology in your club.
Yeah,
definitely.
Exactly. Yeah, like you said, time, it's very important these days. It's very valuable. So as soon as you can show, you have the opportunity to get them to try, they will see this is perfect. Like this saves me a lot of time, and that's what people want in the end. To make the decisions easier and to save the time. And all of you guys provide that, and that's also why you are here. So
and
before.
Sorry. Say, like, and in the end, just enjoy the match.
Yeah,
do everything and then just enjoy the match as we love, right?
Yeah, exactly. Yeah, perfect. Oh, very well said. Spot on. Before finish, would you guys like to say anything in particular? Also, where people can find you guys, where can approach you if they have any doubts? Because I know all of you are open to questions from people that want to try, and I challenge everybody to go and check their websites and check, information. Information is always useful. It's always good to be informed about the things that exist. Even sometimes if we cannot afford now, we can afford in the future. We never know. We always need to be, to be aware of the things that exist. It's always good information and doesn't occupy any space in our brain. So please go and find and have an open mentality to try the things, because only trying you can see if it's suitable for you or not. So guys, please just leave some words. We can start with Kevin that we started also. We can also be the first one to say some words, and
Yeah, sure. If Ricardo can put this my vision back on the screen. Well, if you want to know anything more about GPS tracking or Johan Sports in particular, you can just visit our website, which is johansports.com. and you can get into straight into contact with us. Like over here on the bottom right of the screen, we have a chat function where you can get into contact with one of the people working at Johan Sports. If you have any questions, just ask them there, or on the top we have some buttons of pricing or contact forms which you can fill in, and we will get back to you as soon as possible to answer all your questions, and just to get in touch or share some interesting insights.
Perfect, great. And what about you, Dinarte?
Yeah, so from our side is if you are a scout and you have been having challenge like in organizing your work, if you are a head scout and as well, like you realize like we can do something better. There is a better way to do this than like being like always the repeating way as well. Come talk to us. Like our website is here or on the site. We also have the cool chat function. So really come talk to us, share your problems. We are happy to hear it. And then from there, we also hopefully can bring a solution that solve your problems, and you have the time to focus on what matters.
Okay. And you, Mirko?
Yeah, it's the same. If you have any interest in exploring more about the usage of event data to make better decisions from it, feel free to contact me. Visit our website. You will find some basic information there. Send us a mail. There should be somewhere a small field, contact at the right top. Just drop me a line. You can also contact me on LinkedIn if you have any kind of questions. We're a company which is loves ideas and sharing ideas and make discussions, get insights. So feel free to contact me personally or contact the company. And if it's just a small call, I'm always open to drink a digital coffee for 30 minutes. It isn't really a problem. So feel free to contact me and have a look at the websites. If some kind is interesting for you, try it out. Like for ScoutPad, it's a small, lean database for managed scouting reports and shadow teams and watch list of players. Have a look on it. It's from a basic level up to a professional level. We have everything for everyone.
Perfect. Thank you, guys, and congratulations for the hard work, because I know how hard it is to, for all of you to build a product like that. Many people cannot imagine how much hard work and dedication is needed, and passion, and many miles traveling, many talks, many virtual coffees, like Mirko said, many things, many ideas. So congratulations to all of you. I wish you all the best for all your projects. That personally, I like all of them. That's why I invited you guys especially. So I hope you enjoyed, and it's been a pleasure. So guys, everybody that's been watching also, thank you. And yeah, so we'll be in touch. Thank you very much.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Pleasure.
Bye.
Bye. Okay, guys. Yeah. Thanks. We're still here.